What were we talking about?
I had actually. We were talking about how you wanted to use Linux, but you realized that it really wasn't practical. It was just something you wanted because you liked the idea of it.
I very much wanted Linux to be the move, and that's just I'm having the exact same problem. I run into this problem all the freaking time. I'm like looking for. I'm in the process of buying a new camera and selecting some primary lenses for a specific long-term project, and I really want different things to be the right move. Like there's some cameras from like smaller companies that I think are really cool. Problem is, sorry, just slightly too expensive compared to the bigger brand stuff in terms of what they can deliver. Same thing with Linux. It was like, I want this to be the move. It's just not though from practical standpoint.
Yeah, because you like the idea of it, right? So like,
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's very important to do what actually works for you and your goals, as opposed to getting obsessed with this particular thing you have in your head. And I used to do that a lot as a kid. Like, a really funny thing was like when I first listened to I don't like K-pop, but there was
Damn,
one,
dude, that's a hot take.
But there was a K-pop song the first time I listened to a K-pop song that I like, because like I don't like K-pop, but of course there are some songs I like because I like some songs of basically every genre. There's even like one country song that slaps, dude. So
that's an even hotter take.
So like the first time I listened, so I'm really into Japan, and at the time I already spoke Japanese, so I was like all in. Like to me, Japan, best country in Asia. I was like, I don't know, 12, 13. Japan, best country in Asia, epic. And so I listened. I had a Chinese Korean friend at school, and he was like, dude, K-pop so much better than J-pop, bro. And I got really defensive because I was like, no, Japan #1. And so the first time
Japan #1.
So the first time I found a K-pop song that I liked, I was like, I kept it a complete secret from everybody who I knew. I listened to it clandestinely. And by the way, it's not even a good song. The song's called "Boyfriend" by J Park. I still love it, but it's not very good. And I feel like I had the same thing also. Well, like I bought a Mac because I was like, Macs are what people use. Cause I wanted to see what everyone was so crazy about. Because I had never had a non-Linux laptop before, and so I bought a Mac laptop, and I realized at some point, like, this is just like me using my Linux laptop, but I hate it.
I want to get into this topic afterwards, but yeah, so remind me to return to the Linux Mac thing.
So I realized, look, it's like Linux, but the terminal is not as epic, and I don't get how it works, so let me just go back to Linux. So I sold it and I bought an Oculus Rift.
What was the thesis of telling that story?
Like, not to get too obsessed with your ideas of what's good and what's bad, and try to focus more on the reality of, like how things actually are when you use them, when you do them. It's also like guys who are like, I'll only date a girl if she's Asian, 5 feet tall, likes raspberry flavored chicken wings, and only then. Meanwhile, he's like fat, ugly, no one likes him. It's like, look, being that particular, you're going to for sure miss out on some people in your life that you could have had a great relationship with. You know what I mean? You shouldn't have too many ideas preconceived about these sort of things. I mean, I'm not saying you can't have preferences, but you know what I mean.
Well, in regards to that thing, I think there's a difference between shallow and other preferences in romantic interests. You know, it's more like how they, I think, red flags in terms of their interests can often be much more shallow than like red flags in terms of their actions and stuff. And it's like, I have no intentions of dating a girl that does this or whatever, because
yeah, I get that, but what I'm saying is, I think people should not codify those things too easily, because there's no point in doing that. Because when you meet a girl you don't like the girl. There's no problem. But like, if you like a girl and you're not doing it or you're not going for it because you have all these ideas in your head about what a girl should be, I feel like that's not the move.
This is exactly the Boyfriend song that you were talking about.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I did similar. Most of the music I listen to right now is like hip hop and rap. But for a very long time, I did not. I would randomly come across some rap songs that I like. The first one that I can remember was Swimming Pools. And
So basic.
it was on the radio. I only heard basic songs. That's all I only heard radio songs. And I was like, wow, that's really cool. But between my friend groups, it was socially unacceptable to like hip hop and rap.
Oh, you like that fake stuff?
It was classic rock or like jazz or Kill Yourself. And I would be like, yo, like actually this rap song's not that bad, dude. They'd be like, yeah, nah, like but I'm glad that has since changed. And I try to bleed that into other parts of my life. But it's certainly something you have to notice, and you can't just, it's not always done perfectly.
Yeah, and I feel like the reason why I learned this through that book that's by the samurai, and that's mainly about fighting, probably the reason why that's such a good place to learn that, is because I feel like this applies extremely to sports, in which, not just sports, but competition in general, in which your bad decisions become revealed very easily. Like, there are some people, so, are you familiar with what jiu-jitsu actually is, like grappling versus striking?
Not at all.
So grappling is like basically wrestling, submitting. By submitting I mean doing things like
Submit.
doing things like neck cranks, like putting neck cranks or choking or anything that makes somebody any way you basically fold somebody to make them
all the kinky
tap
stuff.
out.
Yeah.
That's a really bad that's a really bad explanation, and everybody does jiu-jitsu is gonna like be mad at me. But anyway, that's basically grappling, and striking is punching, kicking, right? Punching, kicking, kneeing, elbowing, and a lot of strikers think that they can just get into grappling for like 6 months and just be straight to do MMA. They can't. So it's very common that when people are new to jiu-jitsu, like, oh yeah, bro, like I've been doing taekwondo and Muay Thai for 10 years, like I'm so good. And then like some woman who's been there for not to like degrade women, but just saying that like it'll be like some 6 foot tall muscular guy and this like 5'6" woman can submit him all day long because she knows the technique of jiu-jitsu or samba or whatever form of grappling it is. This is more true in jiu-jitsu than in wrestling, proper wrestling, because wrestling is a lot more about how strong you are. Yeah, it'll happen, and they'll be like, dude, no, this is fake, this is stupid, this is wrong, this is not how it's supposed to go. Because they're so attached to this idea of I'm a great fighter because I can punch good. And the same thing happens in reverse too. Jiu-jitsu fighters will be like, yeah, dude, like I'm good at jiu-jitsu. I've been doing Muay Thai for 6 months. Let me go stand up against this kickboxing champion. Like, no, that's not how it's gonna work. And the same thing happens in esports. Same thing happens in chess. People like certain strategies too much. Whenever you're too emotionally attached to your ways of winning, that's never the move. And the same thing applies to more nebulous forms of winning in life, like happiness or monetary success or so on and so forth. Just very obvious in sports because it's right there. When you get submitted, you can't really be like, no, that was a glitch. That didn't happen.
That was a glitch. That was a glitch. Bruh.
Although you do get those people who are like, I was tired, this is my first roll of the day. That's actually my favorite in like fighting games. People will be like, yeah, my first game of the day, gotta warm up. Meanwhile, they lost because of like something very glaring in their playstyle.
Something might be wrong here. No, these pillars are right. How do you think I should? I think I need a way to get up to the second floor in here. Where do you think I should put like stairs or something?
You should make a spiral staircase.
I'm thinking about doing 2 spiral staircases. Like it splits off. One goes that way, one goes this way.
Yeah.
That'd be tight. And then like, there's gonna be a little doorway here and a small-ish but real bougie room from my bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna be tight. And then these walls are gonna be the library, and then up there I don't know yet. I like these giant pillars. I think I'm gonna make them a theme. I used them over here.
Yo, you wanted to go back to the Linux thing?
What were we talking about?
You told me to tell you to come back to the Linux thing at some point.
Oh. Actually, I don't remember really what my initial thought was, but it was probably going to be something Mac versus something Linux PC. I don't know, but why do you think you didn't like using Mac?
I don't know if it was really Mac's problem as much as it was the fact that I was used to Linux, and there was nothing so great about Mac that made it worth not being on Linux. Like, it wasn't worth learning. I didn't gain anything from learning it, so it was just like a useless extra skill to have.
Well, the thing is, do you agree that they pretty much all do the same stuff?
No.
I mean, yeah, I think
because I don't care about the same things you care about, so we're not gonna see this in the same way.
Yeah, I think, but they do some things like a little bit better than each other. I don't really care.
Like, I don't really like, to me, the GUI stuff, that I don't care. I just need a GUI that works. But I like to do as many things as possible through the terminal. And I like to have as much customizability as possible. That's my feeling on it. And I'm willing to work with code that's annoying for the price of actually being able to work with it. As opposed to just accepting what I get. In the form of bloatware or, Mac just telling you can't change what's going on. But like, you know that I'm getting your, I'm taking one of your SSDs and making it into a Windows, so I can run Windows on one SSD in my laptop because I like to play video games, and I could be a Linux purist and mess with Proton for 300 hours to get everything that I want working on Linux. But why would I do that? It's funny when you're a kid, you have so many of these things. Like, when I was a kid, I was also like, Xbox shucks. Even if Xbox, the thing is, Xbox does suck.
Here's the thing, though.
The thing about it is, though, nowadays, if Xbox came out with a really good product, I would buy it. Or like a product that I really liked, I would buy it. But back then, even if Xbox came out with like a great product, I probably wouldn't have bought it. You know what I mean? I mean, at some point I bought one, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
and now I'm gay.
Also, like, I remember in elementary school having a conversation like, hey, do you like Nickelodeon, Disney, or Cartoon Network better? And I was like, if you don't say Cartoon Network, we just can't be friends.
That was you?
That was me. Cartoon Network was the best. Although I guess that's not exactly the same, because I did watch all three. I just preferred Cartoon Network because it was based, but...
Based? Why did I get calendar notifications? Oh, dude. I missed the IEEE meeting.
Oh, no.
Oh, I gotta figure out what I'm gonna build these stairs out of, because it's not gonna be... It's gonna be wood. Oak wood. So that's what the bookshelves will match.
Yeah, I never. What's interesting is that all my roommates have been quite different from me. I've had.
Nah, we're the same guy.
No, but like, the way you and I interface with the computers is so different. Like when I watch you use the computer, I'm like, damn, he's really quick with like changing windows and moving between this thing and this thing, and copy and pasting stuff into Discord. He's efficient with this. But it's like I don't do any of those things. Like it's like we use a completely different device almost.
They aren't different devices because they do the same shit.
But we don't do the same shit. That's what I'm saying. We fundamentally use computers for different purposes. I mean, in different ways.
I love this song.
Like, for instance, all your problems with Linux are more like... Probably 90% of them don't apply to me at all because they just don't apply to me.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I think that they don't apply to people that use Linux generally anyway, because the software that I was trying to currently I am using Mac OS Linux and Windows all at the same time, and I've used Linux on many different occasions. Not in any permanent capacity aside from server stuff. And I really enjoyed it when I would use it. Like it was more of an abstract feeling as to why I enjoyed it. Like it's hard to describe. But things felt locked in, I guess, if I were to put it into words. And it felt like I had control over it, which felt like a really good combination between Mac and Windows, because Windows feels disjointed, but it at least feels like I have control over it. Mac feels locked together and clean, but first of all, it's so locked off, it feels like I have no control over it, and also the entire side of, I don't like how much control Apple has over what goes on with the computer. If it breaks, if something happens to it, it more comes down to their mercy to fix it, and also what they determine the price to be to fix it. Or like, you know, if your motherboard dies and your drive is plugged into the motherboard, and then the T2 chip just like prevents you from ever accessing that data. All those types of things related to Apple's grip around the Mac is what bothers me, and I thought Linux would be a perfect combination between the two. But when I went to go use it, I bought a new SSD and like planned to use it in some permanent capacity and basically switch over and only use Windows when absolutely necessary, which would hopefully be never. But basically the entire first day of using it was a really bad experience because it was actually slower than I thought it would be. Like switching between a ton of tabs was a little laggier than I had thought it would be, and almost every piece of software that I tried to install failed for some reason. And I think the reason that happened is because I was installing software that like, okay, who uses Linux that would ever use that crap?
It's also a question of like how, like, there's a lot of things that I take for granted with Linux that I'm thinking about. If I was new to Linux, I would have no idea about that. Like
what?
Just like basic driver stuff, basic repo stuff, where to find things. Also, like optimizing your hardware for Linux. The thing is, I don't worry about that anymore because I have a computer that was optimized beforehand by System76. But every time I put Linux on a system that wasn't optimized that way, it was substantially harder. Like a lot more grunt work on my part than it is for my System76, for instance, which you're probably also dealing with. Little things like updating the repo and adding extras, and I can see how that would be not fun if you were new.
My Linux experience is mostly limited to copying and pasting, but I have a pretty good understanding of how to use it on a slightly beyond basic level. But I mean, like, all the crap I was trying to get people that use Linux don't use it. It's
Yeah.
very unfortunate. You know, Linux.
You're not really a Linux user. You want to make code more GUI based. For better or for worse, that's not a very Linux thing. That's not a very Linux design philosophy.
I don't think a lot of people with Linux would like you for that statement, Spencer. What am I doing here? I can't freaking remember. Yeah, and I was also planning on getting video editing software on it. The same video editing software I'm switching. I'm going to be actually trying to permanently switch to it on Windows, and it's available on Linux, and it's actually well optimized on Linux. But like, who uses it on Linux? And all the other necessary things that go with that, like my backup software for like backing up enormous files to my server. Like, not a lot of Linux people are backing up like terabytes of personal data, I don't think. Maybe because they're data hoarders like I am, much more than like general people, but they don't have videos and photos out the wazoo. I actually, honestly, in my eyes, in a joking / not joking way, my experience with Linux had the worst possible outcome. In that I actually gained an appreciation for Windows. I had been so irritated by Windows so many times this year. And then after using Linux for just literally one day, I was using Ubuntu.
Oh, also, you have nowhere near the amount of software patience that I have. And I don't think that's me being patient. I think it's you being very impatient with software.
Oof.
Like I see you get mad at your anything actually, like on the reg. I've heard you get mad at Android. I've heard you get mad at Mac OS. I've heard you get mad at Ubuntu. I've heard you get mad at Windows. I've heard you get mad at. I'm pretty sure I might have even heard you get mad at your camera.
Yeah, and I could explain why.
I can explain.
Not the specific reason. The reason I get so upset is because it says it'll do a thing, and I go online, it says it'll do a thing, and it doesn't. And I understand the complications around that. I understand why it's so difficult to develop software that just works or something. You know, so many variables.
What pisses me off about the phrase "just works" is that it's really it's like you're always paying a price. So if software worked in such a way where it legitimately always just worked, it would probably be literal orders of magnitude more space intensive and probably also more processor intensive and probably cost you money and take time that literally no one has
to develop.
Yeah, like because it's all zeros and ones ultimately, so there's so many different ways you can exploit a system or mess a system up or just not have it work the way it's supposed to work. But if you wanted to really and truly make a completely foolproof 100% your system, that would just be between impossible and incredibly impractical. And as a software developer myself, when I see broken software, my thought is, I should A, exploit this, or B, fix this. Whereas I feel like for you it's more like, this is fucking stupid. Which is not unreasonable position, but
I understand why, but it's like it actually all comes back to the word control, because I have little to if it's just broken, dude, and it's supposed to do a thing but it doesn't, I have no control to fix that.
That's not true. If you're using open source software on Linux, you have full control to fix that.
For practicality's sake, I'm not a coder, and honestly, a lot of things that I'm trying to do are more about trying to get stuff done faster and more efficiently. And it's like, dude, at that point, if it's gonna take me this long to install your gosh darn software because you like didn't set up, you only shared it as like a GitHub repository that you have to compile yourself or something, and it's like, I gotta figure out how to do this.
Okay, another thing problem I think you're probably having is that you're not compiling stuff on Windows is insane. Like, compiling stuff on Windows never worked for me.
I don't think I've ever successfully, like, I'll search for some obscure piece of software. An example is a piece of software that mutes my MacBook when I open it, because I use my laptop in every single class I go to, pretty much. And I don't want the risk of opening my laptop and, like, whatever I was watching or listening to beforehand playing. And I go find this piece of software, and it only exists in, like, you know, some open source thing on GitHub with a ton of, you know, with a good amount of people that are clearly using it, but absolutely no tutorial on how to do it, because all of them already know how to do it or something.
Yeah, you don't understand, like, all the people who write this software, they write it for them first, and then as like a side thing, oh, if you want to use it too, go ahead. But, like, that's on you. And I feel like people don't really understand that aspect. It's like, in real life, you don't just expect if, I don't know, if, this is a really, really far out there example, but if a blacksmith makes, like, if a blacksmith makes makes some sort of metal work, and it's like, here, you could use this if you want, and you're like, but how do I do it? Figure it out yourself. Like, no one would be like, oh, he's obligated to fucking make it work for you. Like, no, he's just making a piece of software, and he happened to let you use it. Yeah, I mean, but that's also partially, I don't know. That sounds, now I'm hearing myself talk, that sounds very Bahamian and conservative. Maybe what that is, partially.
This is gonna be a longer staircase than I thought. It's gonna, like, it's only at halfway here. It's gonna go all the way there. I don't know about that one. It's also really tight. Actually, I think I got an idea. Yeah, we're chilling. What was the last thing we said?
Blacksmiths.
Yeah. I'm not gonna stop complaining about that, though. It's not gonna happen. It's something that will... Because if you're, like... If you're publishing, like... If you're helping other people, like, if you're fixing bugs on your software for other people, you care about other people.
Yeah, but that's not, like, that... If you really care about other people, there's nothing about the extent to which you care. Like, I could be like, well, if you're fixing bugs for other people, then why don't you donate to the Bernie Sanders campaign and help fix AIDS? Like, no, I mean, I can talk because, honestly, dude, one day, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be one of those guys who has a GitHub repository that you download and don't understand, and you're like, this guy's an asshole. Yeah, that's me. Because, like, if I write a piece of software, there's absolutely no reason not to put it. Oh, here's another thing. Other people who put stuff on GitHub, don't put it there for the sake of anybody else to use it.
They just store it.
No, not that even. It's even more cynical. They put it there so that when they apply for a job and they put the GitHub, it shows more cool stuff. But yeah, like, I don't want, if I'm gonna give something for free, I don't want to also have to be like, here's exactly how you do it, because I'm lazy, and I'm a coder, and that's not how coders think. I don't know, it'd be nice if we had a better analogy for this.
I don't like we're not going to agree, because I don't think that the coders are necessarily the people that are completely at fault. I just wish it was more, because compiling all these things is not the same for everything. It's not like you learn how to do it once and then it's like you're good to go. If it was that case, then I'm like, yeah, you don't need to explain to everybody how to go through a setup wizard or something. But I wish that it was more culturally expected to just put a simple like boom boom boom, here's how to install it.
I think most things
even
have
if it's
that.
not that. No, they don't, dude. Like, I mean, maybe I've just had really bad luck in the software that I find, but that hasn't been my experience.
I mean, honestly, the software you're describing sounds so simple and obscure that I almost feel like if you're having this big of a problem, it would legitimately not be that hard to like write your own.
Yeah, it would not be hard. I don't think. I mean, it would take me at least a day at where I am now, having basically zero experience. But it would take me about a day to figure out how to write a script that runs on the laptop coming awake to mute itself. But that's one of the, I think a core part of computer science is not doing redundant things. And me writing an entire program that already exists on GitHub is redundant.
I don't think so, because if you say that, then like most programs ever, literally ever, are extremely redundant. They all have their slight differences, you know, and I think the slight differences are important. And I don't think that.
Yeah, well, yeah. If you're like a company or something.
Like in this case, you're doing it because you don't want to deal with the pain of having to like, you know, figure out this other stuff. But compiling stuff is normally pretty easy if you're running on Linux and I assume Mac, and you have been around the rodeo a few times. And I feel like most of these people assume that you've been around the rodeo a few times. And if you say like you take your day at your level now, yeah, but after you've done this 3 times, it'll probably take you like a few hours, and then eventually maybe an hour to do these kind of things. And I feel like that might not be ideal. It'd be easy. Of course, life would be better or not better, but easier if everything you've ever wanted was just given to you. But, you know, for me personally, I think that how it is now is pretty good, considering the fact that a bunch of people who I don't know are willing to give me their code for free, and I can just edit it and do whatever I want with it. That's kind of amazing.
Yeah, that is pretty good. Yeah, there's always reason to complain, and this was a topic in my recent like art of cinema class, which is a lot of like really big over analysis of like this is the way culture was and how it is now or something, and it's this way or something like that. But one of the things he's talking about is like this obsession with nostalgia ever since like the 1970s, where the past was always better than the present, even though it wasn't. We just dislike the present enough that we like to dream about the past. When in reality, bro, dude, where we're living right now is like the best possible version of the present / you know, is the best thing yet, you know.
Yeah, I think it's interesting though that you chose the year 1970, because that's when wages stagnated. But
that's what he chose. It's an art of cinema class, so it's about movies. So the pattern is in what movies are about. And honestly, like 1970 to like through the 80s is like when a lot of people think the best movies ever made came out, because of sort of a cinematic renaissance.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's interesting because that also happens to be when people were the most affluent, by and large. Some people felt the most affluent, and some people, as far as like housing and that kind of stuff, that's when things were cheapest. Of course, nowadays we have cheaper computers and that kind of thing, but yeah. How did that relate?
How cool it is that software
Oh,
is
yeah.
available.
Yeah, and then there's also the fact that some things legitimately do get worse, just because a lot of good things realistically can't be expected to last. Like some good things that are by the very nature of what makes them good can't last. Like youth, for instance.
Youth.
No, like youth wouldn't be youth if it lasted. You know what I'm saying?
What the heck? I just like threw my sword somewhere and then it vanished. I think I just item glitched my sword away. I don't even know what glitch would exist to do that.
You get what I'm saying?
Yes, I think I'll need a better example than youth, but I can think of some things that would be examples. You know, something that might be, say, limited to like the population or something. Like there might be some things that are better with a smaller population of people, smaller towns or cities or it came back. Okay, we're chilling. Smaller economy. It's just the vibe is always going to be different.
No, I mean stuff like for me, esports have gotten more and more less and less good from a competitive standpoint as time's gone on, because they become more and more mainstream. But like the mainstream is part of it's like a cycle, because as they become more and more mainstream, they try to get more and more they become more and more sort of commercialized. And so instead of them being just naturally good competitive games, it's games that are built to be competitive, but also built to be like good for newcomers. Those kind of games will never be nearly as competitively integral, but they exist precisely because those old games became popular. And if anything gets popular like that, it's going to become commercialized in that way, and that commercialization is going to take some of the magic out of that. Not only the games themselves being less good, but also the vibe was different, like you were saying, when esports was all about being good instead of the money. And like nowadays, the shit talk is not nowhere near as good because of how corporate it's become. And now if you mention Hong Kong on an esports broadcast, you get fucking canceled.
Things progress. And I think at one point in that progression, there's going to be what people call the good old days. And that is almost never going to be at the peak. You know? The peak of its growth, per se. This isn't going to work.
Also, if anybody ever watches this, I have a question for all of you.
Why?
Does the habit run out of milk where you're from?
No, because anywhere else than here, it is a legitimate business.
Is the habit a California thing?
It's founded in Santa Barbara, yes.
'Cause, I've never seen it anywhere else.
Yeah, I might have seen it before I came here, but I do know that it is a chain that exists. I think that that our school has slaughtered its quality from what I've heard from other people. Same as they did with the pizza place that I can't remember the name of.
Pizza Hut?
Yeah. People are like, other Pizza Huts are so much better than this one. And they say the habit's the same way.
Do you know what sucks? American KFC and American Wendy's.
Dude, American KFC sucks. I think it became worse. I haven't been there in a minute, because the times that I've been there after I was a very small child, were all pretty bad experiences. But I do recall some good experiences from a long ass time ago. But I've heard other people reflect the same thoughts, that it has become worse over time. Like, the chicken's just low quality. It's like slimy and like the restaurants are just not well kept.
KFC in the Caribbean, epic. It's horrible for you, but epic.
Is it worse for you than here?
Yes, 100%.
How could it be worse? It's fried chicken.
The grease is older. The level of spice and the amount of chicken, if you mix up the amount of spice and the amount of chicken you're eating, is really not good for your stomach lining. Yeah, just generally more grease. A lot more grease. A lot older grease. We also have like some Caribbean only stuff. Like in the Bahamas we have like I think they have Bahamian macaroni and cheese. They might even have peas and rice.
Bahamian macaroni and cheese, what's that?
It's what it sounds like. It's like macaroni and cheese.
That doesn't help.
Well, like okay, fine. It's macaroni and cheese, but we use a lot more seasonings in macaroni, and we also cook it in like a cake thing. So it's baked in the oven.
Based.
And we eat it like we slice it, and we eat it like that. You know what I'm saying?
I think you'll find some similar things in America. Southern mac and cheese.
Yeah, I guess. I don't like it that much. So
yeah, I don't. I'm a pretty plain person.
I don't think you'll find Southern stuff like that though, because the thing is, Bahamian macaroni and cheese, one of the most important parts, as far as I'm concerned, is goat pepper, red pepper and goat pepper. I sincerely doubt there's a place in America, or at least it's popular in America to use either of those, particularly goat pepper. I'm pretty sure goat peppers are like native to the Bahamas, but. White people's aversion to spicy food is quite strange.
Aversion?
Yeah.
I'm pretty neutral on it.
What's super strange is Japanese people's aversion to spicy food. They hate it. Which is weird, because, not weird, but, like, almost every other Asian cuisine has a decent amount of spicy food. I mean, I guess probably if you go to like Okinawa or somewhere, there's probably some, but overall, no. This is giving me Zelda vibes, this music and these trees. Have you ever played a Zelda game?
No.
What kind of life did you live?
Apparently a sad one.
You ever played Mario 64?
Nope.
You ever played any Mario game?
Yeah, I played Super Mario Bros.
On a DS, right.
Uh-huh.
That's, wow.
I thought it was pretty fun.
It's like, yeah, sure.
It's like, yeah, sure. Oof.
Honestly, you want my take? This is gonna be kind of a hot take, but I think it's a hot take, but like only in as far as the extremity, not the actual position. I think that game is the Okja of Mario games.
Oh yeah, apparently disliking Okja is a hot take, even though it shouldn't be.
Like, a lot of people like that game, but very few Mario fans who didn't play that game first think it's the best one, or like anywhere near the best one.
You're talking about Super Mario Bros. On the DS?
Yeah. Like, it's definitely...
Oh, so people do like it. I thought it was just like a culturally hated thing.
No. People like it. But it's liked. It's just liked less than the classics.
You don't think that those are nostalgia glasses?
I don't, because people nostalgia glasses for the DS one too. And as somebody who played Mario 64 and Super Mario Bros. And Mario Bros 3. So I played Mario 64 and Super Mario Bros. Basically the same time. I got them both at the same time for the DS. I got the DS remake, and then I got Super Mario Bros. 3 later. Super Mario Bros. World after that. And I can say confidently, Super Mario World is better than Super Mario Bros. 3. That's a hot take. And also that both of them are better than New Super Mario Bros. And that Mario 64 is better than all of them. No questions asked. And I think that's not a hot take. Or at least it's not that big of a hot take. And I call them the classics not because they're old, but because they're classic. Like I also am considering in that like Super Mario Galaxy is substantially better than New Super Mario Bros. Even though I think it's newer. It was newer for me anyway.
I wonder what I should do with this wasteland.
But you know what is nostalgia glasses? GoldenEye for Nintendo 64.
What's that?
It was a FPS for Nintendo 64 that everyone loves, but it really wasn't that good. Like, I love it too because I played it as a kid, but like, it's really not. Like, I've heard people like, it is obviously the best FPS of all time. Really is not. Like, it really, really, really is not.
That applies to movies, I think, a lot. The nostalgia glasses. Bro, movies get better over time. Happens. And it's I think really good. It's become way harder to make a really good movie in the modern day because of that factor that films from the past are appreciated way more than equal quality films of the current day.
Yeah, I think video games definitely has it to an extent, but I think overall, no. And a lot of young gamers have absolutely no respect for the good games of the past because they're like, the graphics aren't good. The game is trash. I'm lucky enough to have been. I was given a DS and an N64, and just told to like figure it out. So I had a DS that could play Game Boy games, so I just played tons of Game Boy games, tons of DS games, tons of N64 games all at the same time. So my prejudice wasn't as bad, and also I grew up with a lot of older gamers in my life who introduced me to older games. I'm very happy about that. That's actually one of my favorite things of my childhood, that I was introduced to those older games because I have appreciation for them that I see that others in my generation just don't. It sounds boomer as hell, but
I was born in the wrong generation.
no, that's not. I was born in the right generation because in this generation I can play Half-Life Alyx and also play Mario 64. If I was born, if this was 1996, I'd only be able to play one of those games. Half-Life Alyx.
What about all the people that have since died that never got to see the Half-Life Alyx trailer?
This is proof that Jesus is not real.
They spend their whole lives waiting for Half-Life 3. Ooh, that looks kind of bad.
The song's good. Who made the music for Minecraft?
This guy named C418. What's the artist name?
What does he do nowadays?
He has a few albums on Spotify that aren't Minecraft, but it doesn't appear that they're as popular. I haven't listened to them even. I apologize, but sorry.
I apologize, but I apologize. Now, what I do think gets the nostalgia glasses a lot is music.
Oh yeah. I love the Beatles, but I think we're hung up if we're gonna define them as the best band of all time I mean, it's hard. It's impossible to really define a best band of all time, but that's just.
What I will say though is that there definitely has been a shift from, if we're talking about like classical music, and I'm not including folk music simply because most folk music we don't really know about it. Like there's some folk music you know, but you know what I'm saying. So like a lot of music has become more simplified, or at least that's what it feels like. And I think that's one legitimate criticism, is that, not to be that guy, but there is something a bit weird about the fact that we love music that's so simple. Like, my sister was really into that song by that one white female rapper. What's her name? The girl who was really big on 2014.
Lord?
No, rapper.
Oh, I didn't hear you say rapper. Iggy Azalea?
Yeah, Iggy Azalea. And she had that one song where it was like, dun, 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 dun. And I was like, dude, do you know how many 11-year-olds in FL Studio have made this beat themselves? And it's not like that's a problem, but like, I do think that that's, on some level, it's reasonable to say that that's has something about it that's of less quality than Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. You know what I mean? But
dude, that sounds society is. That sounds like.
I don't know.
Some really cringe Reddit comment like, "You don't understand." Beethoven's
No, I'm
Symphony."
just saying that it's easier for me to have respect for a song that's like that than a song that has a solid 4 notes, 5 notes.
Well, you would agree that complexity doesn't make it good.
No,
Or,
but you'd also agree that complexity is like.
Or I want to rephrase that. Simplicity doesn't make it bad.
Yeah.
Make it worse.
Simplicity doesn't make it bad, but at some level, actually, I agree with you. Simplicity can make it bad. There's a level of simplicity. How to say this? The more simple you get, the easier it becomes to be bad. Like, no, it's not true either. Okay, I think very mathematically, so I'm thinking of this in terms of edge cases. So the extreme case is the most simple song, which would be 1 note. That's clearly bad, right? And I feel like, even though that doesn't apply to easily a song, I don't feel like that's a sliding scale, and there is a certain level of simplicity that, if not bad, is at very least generally less skillful. Now, this is like I'm a guy who prefers a lot of very simple hip hop beats that I think are very skillful in their own way, but I'm just saying there's a certain beauty and skillfulness to making a complex orchestrated piece that I think is not completely invalid when, you know, our parents complain about our music tastes.
You think? I think more good songs are going to be complex than simple, but you run an equal risk of it being bad by it being complex as is being simple, because it being complex could just turn into noise.
No, I disagree. When it's complex, there's more chances for you to mess it up, so clearly it's more chances for it to be bad. What I'm saying is, first of all, that's why good complex songs are so much more amazing, because like, wow, this is so complex and yet it's so good. Because it's very easy to make a very complex song that sucks. 1. And 2, I think it's impossible at a certain level of simplicity to be that wowing to me. If your song is 1 instrument, 1 note, it's not going to wow me, ever. So, I feel like complexity adds more chances to be good and more chances to be bad. Anyway, this is kind of stupid. I'm not articulating what I want to say properly, but I think you get the general gist of my point.
Yeah, it's not a very interesting topic anyway. This isn't looking too good. I think it needs way more leaves.
Dude, young people are very interesting.
young our age?
A little younger. So my best friend's a musician, and the guitarist in his band is a year younger than us, and he's very I don't know. He's talks to us like we're substantially older, almost like a mentor almost scenario, and so sort of strange for me. Just like some of the things that he like asked me about were like, listen.
Single years are a big difference when you're younger, including at our age.
I don't know. I disagree. I think a lot of what people think is age thing is actually more of like a what you've experienced thing. And I think because I went to boarding school, the difference between here and high school is very little, like very little. My classes were about as hard, maybe harder in high school. People were honestly about as mature. So I was in a different country, same way I'm in a different country now. I was living at school, same way I am now. So like, for me, the difference between last year and this year is like whatever. It's as if I transferred schools. So I think most of what you're describing is really more of like going to college versus not going to college, or leaving home versus not leaving home, or whatever you want to call it.
I think I'll still disagree. Even when you like a sophomore in college versus a freshman, big difference. Different levels in high school, big difference. Even if the two people in the different grades are the same age, because you can have a junior and a senior that are the same age in high school.
That's my point. Is that for me?
I get it's not a matter
I already
of age,
experienced most of the different. Most of what's different about college, I've already experienced. So for me, it's not like I don't feel that different than I did a year ago. And so it's more alien to me when someone who's a year younger than me is like, wow, crazy.
Do I vibe? Jeez, we need way more leaves. Does this still look good?
This looks really bad.
Yeah, I know. I think the whole thing needs to be leaves, and it's probably. I thought it needs to be like higher up too.
How long have we been recording?
Almost an hour.
Bro. I think stop recording time.
Yeah, I agree. Unless we have any more topics, but I can't think of anything.
Yeah. We should do Catherine.
Gamer.
I feel like Catherine will be better because the game will give us more stuff to talk about, like more stuff that relates to us, and also because that game has like downtime where we can just enjoy the game, because like no cutscenes, that kind of thing. Oh, that's epic. That's epic. How do you do that? That's magic.